Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Lariat podcast. You share our news, notes, reviews, and opinions on the world of Japanese pro wrestling here on cagematch.net. I am your host, STRIGGA, as always, joined by Dylan. Dylan, we already talked about it, but I want to do that on air as well. Merry belated Christmas or belated Merry Christmas, however you want to do it, belated one.
Absolutely. Mostly to all the listeners out there. I hope we have a lot of great Christmases out there for everybody. How do you say Christmas in German, though?
Frohe Weihnachten.
Frohe Weihnachten?
Yes, the word Weihnachten translates to Holy Night. It's the German version for Holy Night. Yes.
Oh, that's really cool. There, I like that. I like that a lot. And he didn't even criticize my pronunciation, people. On there, unbelievable.
It was very good French from your side.
I'm a language chameleon. Nobody even knows what I'm talking about when I speak other languages. But no, hopefully everybody had some great holidays out there, whether it's Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or anything. I don't even know all the holidays out there. What about National Shrimp Scampi Day? Have you heard of that?
I have no idea.
Well, I think it's a day we all get together and enjoy shrimp scampi, and it's something I advocate for strongly. Just like I did on the Patreon shows, which, by the way, like Christmas week is crazy good for the Eastern Lariat family out here, because first of all, we have to hype our J Cup 2000 review that we put up. You got that, like, special Christmas treat for everybody. I released a free version of the Patreon, my report card series, proving why one of us is a teacher on this show and it's not Dylan on there. I couldn't figure out. Okay, Strigga, let me get it together. So the one I released was on Noah, by the way, so that's for free. You can listen to all of them on the Patreon. I've done New Japan, All Japan, and Noah so far. Got to get into DG, Stardom, and Marigold before the year's out. But I have a teacher question for you to help in my report card knowledge, because I gave All Japan, the report cards is all about 5 subjects I grade upon, then an overall report card. That's how it happened in my school, pretty much. We had history, science, math, English, blah, blah, blah. And then finally it all came together for one report card. I give an overall grade at the end. But I decided to give All Japan, I took points off pretty much because they had too many scandals this year at the end, and they had bad behavior. So what I'm saying to you, Strigga, is if, let's say you had a student who was a middling type of student, a C plus type of guy, pretty much on here. He's doing okay, but not really great. He's funneling along C plus. Maybe he has more potential, but you're just not able to reach this guy. He's talking, but he's doing okay. Like, he's going to, graduate fine. Let's say one day he walks up to you and says, "Mr. Strigga, fuck you," and then punches you right in the nose and breaks your nose. Would he lose points on his report card for that?
No, I would probably.
Really?
I would not do that, but I would probably do other measures. He would get other consequences for his behavior.
Well, the thing is, Strigga, I'm very limited.
I could even think about to sue him. But I could.
That's a good idea. You could. Yes.
Teachers usually don't do that, but there have been cases here in Germany where teachers have sued students that approach them with a knife or even worse.
That's kind of serious.
Yeah, it's really serious. Yeah.
That's very serious. But I will say that in my report card class, I'm very limited in what I cannot sue All Japan for bad behavior. Unfortunately, although sometimes they're bad enough that I feel like I deserve compensation.
Someone to punch in the face for.
I need one of them to punch me in the face.
Oh.
on there. So I can I can't sue them if I punch them. That's not how that works. Strigga
Hmm.
on there. Like that would be a double whammy overall. But there, I will admit there are times with actually every company that I reviewed, there was times I feel like I should be compensated for having to watch them at times, whether it's New Japan, All Japan, or Noah. So I think that should be. I think companies would book a lot better shows actually if that was one of the rules. Like if you are a bad enough company, people can sue you and get their money back. Well, I guess you could ask for a refund.
You could?
Probably right.
Yes, I mean you could.
Would it work?
I don't know. I
I think I need to try
never,
this in the
never,
future.
never thought about that actually in this context.
That's true. I mean, this is a quite silly context that we're talking about right now, and very unrealistic. But I do think, like I said, I think realistically though, they promised us quality entertainment.
Yes.
Is that not false advertising in some
When
way?
I'm looking at this card that we're getting, I don't know.
Yeah, for All Japan especially. We just talked about that before we went on the air. Yes, that definitely. People need to get refunds, especially people at the venue. I think should get
Yeah,
refunds.
yeah.
But who knows?
I was there last year in Yoyogi #2. I love that
Yeah.
venue. It's great.
Yeah, the thing is, like, when you went there last year, it felt like even like most of the shows you went to, there was a couple you liked, but even the big Noah show, you were so negative on that afterwards. You were not happy with that Noah
That
show.
was the only show that I was negative about.
Oh, okay. Even the All Japan show you liked last year.
Yeah. There was this great All Asia tag match with Miyahara and Ryo Inoue as a tag team that I liked so much.
That was good. Yeah, I remember that match. I wasn't there for it, but I watched it. It was really good. So long story short, if you want to hear all of my silly report cards that I give these companies, go to the Patreon, patreon.com/Eastern Lariat. But you get it free for Noah. I put that up on the YouTube for everybody if you want to check that out. And we obviously have this show, which is our first ever version of this that we're going to do here again. So the holiday season, Christmas, New Year's, and everything in between, it's looking pretty good for the fans out there in the Eastern Lariat family. So we appreciate y'all. I hope you enjoy what we're going to put down today. And let us know what you think. Let us know who you think should be the top and if our list is good or were you thinking, man, what were you idiots thinking about this bullshit list you put together? Let us know that too. You could be a little nicer about it, though. But still, let us know.
So yeah, and some point in January, probably nearing the end of the month, we're going to have our Eastern Lariat Year-End Awards as well, of course. A couple of, I think 2 years ago, we pushed it back to January to have some more room for voting.
Yeah, voting starts on New Year's Day. And the end result will be determined later on whenever we decide
to do the show. That's correct. So, like you said, we just dropped a couple of days ago. We just dropped the 2000 Super J Cup review. I hope that everybody liked that. We enjoyed it tremendously to watch the show, to talk about it, obviously. And now we're going to talk about a different subject that also has to do with the year 2000, but it's wrestlers that were born not later than 2000. So they have to be either 25 or under 25. So none of these wrestlers could have competed at the 2000 Super J Cup. They were either born in the exact year or a bit later, and in some cases, very, very, a lot later, in some cases, than the Super J Cup 2000. And we're going to do some other lists for funsies at the end of the show when we get to it. So, Dylan, the basic idea was, like I said, we thought about doing a 30 for 30 list, but there are so many 30 for 30 lists around that you came up with a different concept. And the concept now is we had to think about 20 wrestlers under the age of 25 or 25. And that's really not easy. For me, it was really hard. You side-eyed me for some of my choices, but we're gonna talk about our comprehensive list of wrestlers and some of the dropouts that didn't make the cut, the honorable mentions at the end here. So for everybody to get a understanding of what we're talking about, Dylan, why don't we just talk about the first 5 names comprehensively here?
Yeah.
And we're gonna start off with number 25. That is Kohaku from Wave, Yu Owada from Noah at 24, Sora Ayame from Marvelous at 23, Ibuki Hoshi from Ice Ribbon at 22, and Manami from Sendai Girls at 21. Dylan. So your thinking and my thinking going into this lists varied at some points. So based on these names that I just read off, what was your idea going into this list?
Yeah, so there's a lot to get into in all of that. But honestly, it's funny because at first I pitched to you kind of what you ended up doing at the end, which was like an awards, but more for like the first quarter of the century, like 2000s and on. And I didn't like for whatever reason it just didn't go anywhere. So I came up with this new idea, which was more of a 25 for 25, 25 for 25 and under, which I think is better. I tinkered with the 30 for 30, and the end result of it is a lot different than I actually thought it was going to be. Like I said, I really thought that, because you had kind of insinuated that you were going to be super busy during the holidays and stuff, and I didn't expect you to be able to really do that much with it. So I was just going to write it. Like it would be a written article type of thing, similar to what I did with Takayama and the Hall of Fame stuff. But then thankfully you came through to me and was like, hey, let's do a show about it. And that literally happened like a few days ago too, by the way, where you let me know that, and I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome, we could do a great show together. And so it actually got better than what I thought it was going to be. Like thanks to you at the end of the day, so we do appreciate that.
Excellent.
And I think the list was better as well, again, because I had made a list on my own and it was good. I liked my list too, but I appreciate different perspectives. Ideally, in terms of side eyeing, there was really only one name that we'll talk about later that I kind of side eyed because I thought you would put her on it, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. The first five is interesting because most of our list was actually not that different. Like, I mean, there were certain differences, but I think a lot of the names were pretty. I think like most, if you're really in tune, and not everybody follows all of these promotions, to be fair. So
That's exactly the point. So there is going to be some blind spots. Like for example, if you could not do a 25 under 25 list if you're not watching Yoshi wrestling. That is really impossible because lots of the Yoshi talent is high up on the list on the eventual 25-25 list. Partly because they start so young, but also because they're just incredibly good.
yeah, and that's the thing with that. It's not really like it's not like we planned for it to turn out that way. It's just so much that a lot of the Joshi wrestlers start really young at the end of the day. There are people that start like, 12, 13 years old and stuff like that. And even some on the list are younger, are 18 and stuff right now. So, and some of them are 18, they've been wrestling for 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So, like, and the thing is, it's kind of, it's a telling story of the promotions as well, I would say, in that, you know, like there's a lot of guys you may think about if you are just a tunnel vision viewer towards a New Japan, for example,
Yeah.
on there. Like I think that really speaks to their format and how they train people more than anything in a lot of ways, and how
Nice.
like a lot of these people we're talking about have made a mark of some sort already, even if they're just there's some people that are a year in, like that are high up on this list because they've gotten the opportunity to make a mark as well. Like they're not just in there working basic matches, 5-6 minute matches over and over and over. Like they've actually gotten to do stuff. And I think that's obviously going to help. And like I said, there's a lot of people here that aren't that experienced. That are, some of these are eligible for our Rookie of the Year award for
Yeah.
our award show. So, some of them aren't. Like again, some of them are veterans at this point, even though they're 25 or whatever. But still, there's some that are still rookies technically, but they've been so great that we stand out with them. As far as the first five, this was the only part of the list where we really had a bunch of people that only one of us voted for each.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, with me, it was Owada and Ayame. I had them on my list, and you
Yeah.
didn't have them on yours. and you had Kohaku and Ibuki Hoshi on your list,
Yes.
and I left them off of mine. And Monami we both had. We
Mhm.
love her too much to leave him on. So I'll kick it off with 25 to kind of go through why I left her off. So Kohaku, to this day, on Fire Pro World, I was the one who created Mikoto Shindo on Fire Pro first, above any user all over the world. I made her first on the game. I loved her as a rookie wrestler. Like, she, to me, had top level wrestler potential, in my opinion. I thought she was an amazing, amazing rookie. One of the best I've ever seen, honestly, in terms of a rookie. She went through, there was a lot that happened with Marvelous.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
she ended up with Wave as Kohaku now, and
Mhm.
she got a lot of opportunities this past year. She actually beat Saya Kamatani for the Regina Day
For the
Wave.
wave title, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's less fancy the way I said it though, like the actual name at the end of the day. But yeah, so she beat Kamatani for the title, and I've seen her run a lot in Wave, and I like her a lot. I still like her a lot. But I do have to say with her, she wasn't someone that I really would push for only because I always come away from her matches, whether it's Kamatani or her others. I want to love these matches because I do love her and have a history with her as a fan, but they're always they're never as good as I want them to be, actually. Like when I watch her wrestle. And I don't know why that is in Wave, to be honest with you. But there's no matches of hers where I really thought, okay, this is one of the best matches I've seen all year at all. Like I've never felt that, or even she's particularly like this was even what a great performance from her, like it used to be, and I don't know why that is. At the end of the day,
Hmm.
but she's good though. Like
Yeah, she
again, like
exactly.
I'm holding her to a very high standard.
Yeah, maybe you do. And I'm gonna pick up where you left with naming Soya Ayame because I didn't have her on my list. The thinking behind that was that of course, I looked at potential. But if you remember what I said at the half year awards when I talked about Homare and Senka Akatsuki, I said that Homare at this point is more of a complete wrestler than a rookie. And that is where the New Japan wrestlers that could make the list also come into play. They're still more at the rookie state of their career and wrestle like rookies. Of course, you can see like how much potential the young women from Marvelous have. But at this point, when I think about a top 25 list, I just couldn't put these names very high up there when I consider others that are already core parts of their promotion.
Yeah, and to me, the awards, I completely agreed with you then, and I still agree for the awards. But I do think for this list, a big reason why I like this better than the 30 for 30 actually is because I'm not a big fan of 30 for 30 in that how can we compare Sasori Ayame, for example,
Mm-hmm.
a rookie wrestler versus okay, that person may not rank too highly in that list, whereas oh, here's Shun Skywalker, a multi-time world champion
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
list already.
I know, I
Like the,
understand.
and with this list, there are differences. Okay, like the truth is, yes, of course. Like I said, some people have been wrestling for a decade despite being under 25. That's different than somebody who just started this year. Of course, we know that. But there are on all of these lists, there's not a major world champion that we've seen on this list. In fact,
Yeah,
Kohaku's the only one in 25. She's the only one that won a title in her current promotion. That's the main title. Suzu was an
yeah.
ice ribbon champion, who we're going to talk about later. That's
Well,
two people and
Ibu-
those were not major titles ultimately.
Ibuki Hoshi as well, right?
Yeah, that's right, and Hoshi as well. That we
Yeah,
talked about on there. So like, and those are indie championships ultimately.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, like that's a good place for these type of wrestlers to win the titles, in my opinion. So like, I think that there is much less. It's much more fair to compare all of these people. But for me, potential was a part of my list for sure. Originally when I was writing it, I looked at people who I thought, who are going to carry whatever, like the company or the scene or whatever, 5 years from now. Like, who
Okay.
are going to be the top stars 5 years from now? And all of these four, and there's nothing. The only thing with Hoshi, again, to kind of bring her up,
Hmm.
she's fantastic. She's a great wrestler. She's hurt again already, and I just really don't know where her future is going to lie in the future for her. I hope that she continues to fight back and come back from these things. She had the pregnancy before, and she's a wonderful talent. But I wouldn't think of her 5 years from now as somebody carrying a company. But I do hope I'm wrong because I think she's got the talent to do it for sure. I just wonder where her upside is with everything considered.
I get that. Yes, I understand. See, I also considered like the run that she had on top and the matches that she had as a tag team with her mother and stuff like that that lies in the past, whereas you look
Yeah.
more into the future. And that is where our lists are different in some cases, but not too much actually, like you said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't that different. And like I said, I'm not saying I didn't measure it. Like, you have to have shown something at
Yeah.
the end of the day to be ranked. You can't just pick somebody out and be like, oh, well, this guy's going to be there 10 years from now or whatever. Like, no, like they had to show something, or have something, whether it's a great ability or a company is pushing you hard. Because there was a couple of guys that, I've looked at, okay, this is clearly somebody that they're going to try to get over the best ability. And then that
Yeah.
could be more beneficial than anything, like in a lot of ways, in the future. But, yeah, I have no problem with any of these people. Monami, we both voted for. That was good. Do you have any thoughts on, IMA and Owada? Currently on
Yeah.
excursion.
Yeah, or what I was on excursion right now, I didn't even really consider him because he's been away for a couple of months, so he completely vanished from my side. To be honest, didn't really consider him because of the year that he had with Team 2000X. That was more of a shenanigans year than anything, and of course, this rookie year was very good. He's definitely a guy that could be up there for pro wrestling now once he returns.
Yeah, I think that he has a good future. It always depends on what they do with him coming back. If they get into the gimmicky type of stuff, for sure. We'll see on him. IMA, in my opinion, I think is kind of underrated because I think
Hmm.
people like are so hard on Senka, but they kind of let her slip through the cracks, and I think they're actually not, like, their levels are not significantly different. In my opinion,
I think so too.
uh, I
The
did vote for
difference
Senka.
is the
Yeah.
difference is that Senka had the match with Aja Kong and Soyera Ayame did not.
That's not that much of a difference to me
But
personally.
it is in perception.
In terms of perception,
Real
yes,
perception.
you're right. Like, you're totally right. But, and like I said, I would vote for Senka a little bit above her, but it's not like, if IMA becomes a better worker than her. I mean, for example, again, we're going to talk about. I'm spoiling the list a little bit here, but Kohaku, who I loved so much as a rookie, she was in the same class as Mei Sarah, like Mei Hoshizuki. And she was really good too. And she got, like, May got underrated by a lot of people because Mikoto Shindo was so great that she overshadowed her a lot. And eventually, May Sarah has become one of the people we both look at as a top star in the future, and everybody sees as somebody who is a great performer. And she kind of grow above her. If IMA grows to be above Senka, that would not surprise me at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, definitely not. No.
And Monami is
So
really good. We
Manami,
both like her.
yes, Manami is really good. She sometimes comes off as a goofball in the Thunder Girls
Yes.
with the way she carries herself. But once she gets into the ring, her performances are always very strong. And you can also look at, again, spoiling the list a bit, Yurika Oka is also on the list. So the training methods with Sender Girls definitely produce talent that is very, very good.
Yeah, then all of the companies really. The thing is, there are a lot of people that could be nominated for this. Honestly,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like the
I
rookie
had
scene
like
for a
10
lot of
more
these,
names that I could have put on the list.
and everybody would have. We could do a whole other list if we wanted, probably, with how many
Sure.
great rookies there are on here. So there's a lot of great talent, in my opinion. Like
I
all
could
of
do a
these
top
names.
10 or top 15 of indie talent that is under 25 too.
And that could be it. Like, again, most companies have at least someone who is a great talent that is a future star that's young, and that's a good thing for the scene. Even though the scene as a whole, I think, is like mostly down, but I think the rookie talent, every company has somebody that they can point to, and there's just a lot of great young talent these days, and that shows because these, like, all five of these names that we said, they have a lot, like, they all have great matches to their name, actually. Like, even Owada in Noah with the tag match that
Hmm.
he had, the tag work he did last year when he was with Keno in the tag
Yeah,
league.
that's right.
Uh,
Mhm.
like, all five of these people have great matches to their name, and they're 25 through 21. They're not the top five, but they still have great performances. So that shows you how strong the list could have been, and it
Yeah,
is.
definitely. And Ryukyo Honda, Dylan, we didn't talk about him yet. Honda is one of those guys where I sometimes struggle because I think, especially with the company he's with All Japan Pro Wrestling, he's on the verge of not realizing his full potential, I often think, because, and we have been over that a couple of times, numerous times, actually dozens of times with All Japan Pro Wrestling. This company consists of goofballs, and everybody is just a goofball, and goofballs learn from goofballs, and others become goofballs through that. So Honda, he has so much potential to become one of the top guys in this promotion, but in some cases, these guys, even like a Yuma Aoyagi, for example, they are just held back by this idea that everybody has to be a funny guy.
Yeah, I voted for Inoue above Honda. To be honest with you, I think that he's like Honda, like you said, he's a guy that's basically. If you had asked me 3 years ago when he first came into All Japan and they gave him a really legitimate run, they started him off really hot. They had him go to the finals of the tournament with Kento. He hit the big German suplex on Suwama. Looked like a star. They gave him the glasses gimmick, the shades, with Gungnir of Anarchy.
Sure.
Like he looked, I was like, this is a guy. Like this is like I love him. I think he's great. He commits to everything and he's great. For whatever reason, that really took a turn around a year and a half ago. Back when he got that like really bad like haircut, the Shuji Kondo esque type of thing he tried to do.
Yeah.
Uh, I feel like that's where it all really went wrong, and then he incorporated this dancing gimmick into his thing. And honestly, like I said, he's somebody I thought about leaving off the list entirely because when I see him, I don't see any kind of future star. I have to say, like in his current prop, whereas someone like Inoue is not only a great worker, but he actually shows it. Like as well, and he also has a ton of passion. When he went to the Dragon Gate and all that stuff he did, he's the one that stood out above
I
even
know.
Yuma.
I know.
Like
The frustrating part about both guys is for Honda, whenever he gets the chance to perform in a tournament where he gets to make the final, he is incredibly good and he shows where he could be. Whereas, in a way, nowadays he just doesn't get these chances anymore. He rarely
yeah,
gets title matches and he rarely gets to show that potential that you talk about that is clearly there.
I mean, he's gotten to show it in the
In the
junior
league. Yeah.
tournament, yeah, the junior league, and in the Dragon Gate stuff. So he's had a really good year, I would say. For that, he had that match with Ashino last month too, which was really good for the TV title. But
Yeah,
I loved
yeah,
his match with
was solid, yeah.
yeah, it was good. It wasn't as good as the match with Mochizuki Jr. he had at this
Oh, no.
Doi show.
Huh.
That's for sure. But so I do think he's got enough chances that we've seen that he's really great. Like at the end of the day, but it is a question for sure. I wouldn't put either of them as a top tier player, but I do think in a way, I think his work will carry him to be somebody I always enjoy. Whereas Honda, I don't always enjoy him either, and I definitely don't see him as a star. Like, so sorry to say. In a way, I think his size is going to be a tough sell in All Japan, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. They have elevated the junior division quite well. That was like the only good thing I said about the report card was that they helped the junior
They
division.
they did, They did elevate it, and now they don't get a title match on the big show at the end of the year.
Well, just like the tag titles,
Oh.
no titles matter. Like apparently in all
Mhm.
Japan anymore, except for the Triple
Apparently.
Crown. Well, but the thing is, it's the same thinking. The tag titles and the junior titles are main eventing the first two shows of the year,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so that's their idea. They're wrong,
That's the
but hey,
idea.
New Japan's doing the same thing with the tag belts on their show as well. So, does anyone know how to book titles, or do they just not matter because they're
Uh,
so stupid?
all
Either
these
one.
big shows, all these big shows have so many flaws this year and early next year.
Well, we'll talk about that in a
Yeah.
future date. But
So
yeah,
yeah. So this is your
the
list.
next. Let's just go to the next
Yes,
five.
the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. Inoue is 20.
Yeah.
Rio Inoue from All Japan's number 20.
Uh-huh.
Sanka Akatsuki, we just mentioned her. She's 19 from Marvelous. Ryuki Honda did win. You voted for Honda much higher than I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Got him
did.
up to 18 in All Japan. The Bows. Bozilla comes in. And I do have to say, when I was doing my list on my own, I was originally going to make it like Japanese only. But you came through with Bozilla, and I thought, Strigga's right.
Yeah.
We can't
Why not?
leave the Bows off the list. Exactly.
No.
No, he said 17 is Bozilla and 16 is Hina, who I voted for and you didn't.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
duh, duh, duh.
But I voted for
You-
Rina. Rina is on, much like Hanan. That might be my personal preference because I'm a fan of Hanan's. Might have been a bit too high in the end. That's just my personal thinking here.
Well, we're not talking about Hanan. We're talking about Hina right
Yeah,
now.
I know. I know.
Yeah, like I said. So, well, just kind of, we talked about the All Japan people. Senka, she's great. She's a rookie. Like I said, I think she has a ton of potential. We'll see where she goes in the future. Bozilla, she's awesome. I actually
Yeah,
really, I think she's actually kind of underrated in a lot of
she
ways.
might be.
Like,
She's actually for the experience level she has. He could be on top of a whole different list of a list of 25 under 5 years or something like that.
well, she, the thing about her is, like, I don't think they've ever whether it was with Marigold or in Stardom. I don't think they've quite gotten the maximum they could have out of her as a character. Because I think that's like her biggest strength. Her work is good, especially for a powerhouse type of player like her. Um, and she had that incredible match versus Sari last year, which I thought was one of the best of the whole year. That is what wrestling is supposed to be about, in my opinion. I thought it was so great. That was probably Sari's best match, in my opinion. Like like her Marigold run, and I think it blew away the Utami match. Where did she drop the title?
Mm,
So Bozilla is just fantastic. As her charisma level is so strong when
she
she
really, yeah, yeah.
when she walks out, like this is somebody. Like even if you don't know her or have ever seen her show, even that AEW match she had, she was the one that got the most over in that whole match. On there, that 4-way she was at. Like the American fans didn't know anything about her, but they sure did by the end of that match. And she just carries herself like a superstar. And in ways that actually, like most of the people on this list, there's not everyone can carry themselves like a star, and she does, like by leaps and bounds. So big Bozilla fan, in there for sure. Shout out to the German out
Yeah,
there
and
as well.
they really rushed her career, so to speak, in Marigold.
Yeah,
Uh, Not for the best. Could have gotten some much more out of her in that short run as well. Now she's with Star, and we're gonna see how that continues with Bozilla. Um, yeah, you already said your piece on Akatsuki. I really don't have to add anything to that. Ryo Ino, we talked about. Honda, we talked about. Hina is the one that I did not have.
yeah, and I was very surprised at that. I think that this run as future of Stardom champion, she's really elevated herself to possibly the best in the title's history. And her run this year has been so strong, and against people that not always are the greatest. If you look at her run, she had a really strong match versus somebody like Yuria Hime. in September.
That's
And
correct.
that's
Yes,
somebody
yes.
who is like very super fresh rookie, like Hime's was only a couple of months in at that show, and she made that one of the best matches on the whole show. She's faced people like Akira Kuragane, another one that was like a super fresh rookie. Hina's got the best at it, and although Hina had just turned 19, literally a couple days ago, she's been able to carry people like that. Hanako, she had a really great match. And in the 5-star, her match versus Sari was among the best of the entire tournament, I would say. So I think Hina's grown so much over the years and shown a lot to where she's actually able to carry a lot of these people she's matched up with as the future of Stardom champion. Again, that kind of belays her place on the roster. She's facing a bunch of lower tier wrestlers that she's getting the best out of, and when she steps in there with the best people, she can be great. She's obviously not as high on the card as some other people were,
Yeah, yeah,
but I think if you look at her wrestling, there's no way she's not a top 25 player, in my
yeah.
opinion. Like, I
Might,
wouldn't have even dreamed of that.
might have been a blind spot on my end. This voting here in that case.
Well, nobody's perfect, Striga. Like we all have blind spots after all, even me. I'm like there was certain people that I probably would have forgotten about, but thankfully your list bridged all the gaps. And
But
because I did
you're
vote,
obviously correct that she had a very good year.
yeah, and I voted for her high. Like she was on my list, she was number 11, and that's what carried her to spot 16. Like she had a 0 on your card, but I had her just outside the top 10, and I actually felt kind of bad. She wasn't in the top 10 because wrestling wise, I actually like her better than Hina, or better than Rena, even though a lot of people love her a lot, and I rated her high too, of course. But in
Yeah.
terms of a pure wrestler, I think she is only, and the great thing about her is too, and I guess all of the sisters, they're all young, but she's only going to get better as time goes along. And when she gets up further up the card and can have like top tier matches, I think she's going to be somebody everybody. And then the thing is, I think a lot of people would vote that way only because her sisters were pushed higher than her. But if you look at her wrestling, I think in a couple of years when she gets that run, people are going to be like, "Whoa, like where has this been?" And I want to tell you, I knew it was there all along. Dylan
Excellent.
knew.
Dylan knew. Next up, we had Yurika Oka from Sendai Girls. And Yurika Oka is one of the wrestlers that I've been following since her debut. And I think we talked about her as, I think, either most improved
Yeah,
or even
she was my vote
underrated
last year.
a couple of years ago. Yeah, yeah.
Well, last year, but
Last year, yes. And some of the matches that we can track back to have already been in 2022, 2023, and just now it seems like that she's getting more of a push again in her promotion. She just captured the Sendai Girls World Tag Team title again with her tag team partner Mio Momono with Bob Momo Banana. Momono is just outside the ranking, 27 years old. She could not make it anymore. Yurika Oka could. Did she have the junior title too? Yes, she was the first
yeah,
champion, wasn't she? The first junior
yeah,
champion
and
for
that was
Sendai
like
Girls?
yeah, that was like 2022, 2021.
No, she actually was not the first champion.
Oh, first champion? That was probably like Sasamura, right?
Sasamura, yeah. That's right. She only had the title once now. Yeah, but definitely she's a top tier talent for Sendai Girls and should be able to carry the company going into the future because she should have many years left.
She's another one. She kind of leans to the goofier side sometimes a little bit. But I think last year is where she really stepped up big. Like 2024 and 2025, we got to see where she could go. And no surprise in the current sense. I think her turnaround started when she had the singles match with Sari last year, which was early in 2024. Ever since then, and obviously the tag team with Momono, it's been off to the races. And like obviously everyone's going to point towards Mio as like, oh man, she's one of the greatest, and she is awesome. Like she's one of the best baby faces for sure. But Oka more than grew along with her and carried her into the bargain in that team. And so a lot of her matches are going to be in the tag team with Momono. But I do think that she's shown on her own Again, as a single, she's more in a silly type of role. Than yeah, there's not a lot of banger matches or any, like match of the years or anything like that with her as a singles wrestler. She's more of an integral part of the tag team, but that's nothing wrong with that. And even as a single star, I think that she's held her own more than enough to be somebody rated highly. And we both voted for her too.
Yep.
On there, I had her at 13. And that was a bigger than yours. You were 22, and I was
Hmm.
13 on her. So, very big fan of Yurika Oka for me, and you as well. So that's good.
Yeah, big gap we had with the next wrestler on the list. That is Takeshi Masada on 14. I rated him very highly because I'm a big fan of his, big fan of his wrestling. Think he has tremendous potential in a DDT. You didn't really like the match that he had with Yuki Ueno.
Oh, I
I thought it
did.
was. You did? Okay. I
Yeah,
thought
that
it
was like
was.
his first good match.
Yeah, well, actually not, because one of his best matches was the one that he had at the Ultimate Party show, where he teamed
Which is also
with
against you.
Katsusada Higuchi against Takeshita and Kaiser Takechi, where he was integral part of that match, actually. So
Yeah.
I, I'm I'm much higher on Masada than you are. He is not only able to do the DDT comedy shtick, but he's also very capable wrestler. Um, I think he might be able to carry the company a couple of years down the line. Yuki Ueno obviously is still very young too. Masada, as how old is Ueno even? Did Ueno is 30? Okay, he's much older than Masada is. I didn't consider him 30, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
I just think Ueno is like one of the most underrated people in wrestling. Like once again, him getting the title, things turn around. Like
yeah,
like
yeah,
things. It's just what I
yeah.
said. We had that argument on the half year show where you were like, "Oh, then you can't say he's a draw because they haven't pushed him." And I was like, "Well, like I think we can because they never given
we
him a chance, and now that they given him a chance, it works yet again." On
Sure,
there.
sure, sure. Now
Uh,
it does again. But I'm very hopeful for Takeshi Masada's career down the line, that he eventually is able to reach the same highs as Ueno.
and the thing is, those matches you just named, Ueno, Higuchi, Takeshita, and Takechi, which is like a gimmick player, but very popular.
Sure.
Like, those are some of the best workers that DDT has. And I've watched him in so many matches against not those guys, where to me, he had the big tag title run this year, where he was with, last year actually, where they started to get behind him as a tag team partner of Brooks and try to get him in that loop. And I
That
was
was a
so
very short
underwhelmed.
run.
Yeah, and I was so underwhelmed by what they did with him and what he did in that run at the end of the day. And ever since then, they had him wrestling last year was a lot of people that were undercard players like Illusion and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Uni and whatnot. And to me, he never came across like a standout player in ring. And I never even thought of him like that. The thing that he has going for him over a lot of their other guys, because if you named a lot of their undercard youngsters, like type of players, I would pick at least three above him, like Illusion, Sumi, and Kuroku. Like Kuroku wasn't eligible for the list,
Yeah.
but he would be on there.
I think
But
I would have put Kuroko over Masada if he had gotten into that list.
But the thing that Masada has over them is that he's someone they clearly desperately want to be a top star. Like they clearly see the next Takeshita in him.
Yeah, they do.
Um, because I mean the look is right there. Obviously, he does have that, which I cannot take away. But as a worker, I don't know. Like he's never really hit for me. I think this match he had with Ueno just now, like his two best singles matches are both with Ueno, like in back to back years. One of which you were there live for.
He one of his better singles matches was with Yuya Kuroko as well, and I remember that was a very good match as well.
Yeah,
See
I
the
don't know.
others, the others that we have, for example, like we have is would Yuki Ishida still be eligible? No, he would not. But Katsuma Sumi, and Yuni would be. We talked about that off the air a bit. It's hard to really grade them because, like you said, Masada is clearly getting the chances. He's getting bigger matches, longer matches. You often have Sumi and Yuni in very, very short opening scenarios where they rarely get to show how good they could be.
I think Sumi when he had that tournament run earlier in the year, I thought he
Hmm.
was really great in. Actually, he's a guy that he definitely doesn't get the chances. I feel like okay, he's a guy. The difference between Sumi and Masada is Sumi gets not like very little, but everything he gets, he makes the best of. Whereas Masada gets a lot, but he very rarely makes the best of. Like I always think he could be better than he actually is, like most of the time. But we'll see. Like their careers are far from written at the end of the day.
Yeah,
You know,
and Uni is one of those very rare cases where you can actually compare him to the Yoshi wrestlers that we have on the list,
yeah.
because he started when he was like 8 years old. So he might have been trained in Choco Pro for all we know. Uh, so he went through school. He didn't really stop his career, but he didn't wrestle a lot between 2019 and 2023. He didn't really wrestle a lot. So now, but 24 and 25 have really been the first 2 years where he has been wrestling constantly, has been on the tour with DDT, and I think that's going to pay off eventually.
Yeah, he hasn't impressed me that much, but he's super young. I think Illusion was the better choice of the two for sure
Yeah,
at
definitely.
this point.
Definitely.
But again, it's not like we're writing off these people. Even Masada, who I'm not that high on yet, he's going to get chances. That's not going to change, regardless of it. And I did vote for him, for the record. I put him he was my last pick, 25. I went back and forth between him and a couple of other people, but I always thought, well, the potential is clearly there. So it's funny because we went the opposite with the next guy, Odashima.
Yeah,
We had the exact reverse here, where he was top
exactly.
5 for me and 25 for you. So what is Odashima missing for us, Strigga,
Oh,
in your view?
he isn't really missing anything, right? Or at all. He's not really missing anything at all. What comes into play here was my thinking where I ranked wrestlers above him that have already reached levels that Odashima obviously hasn't been able to reach yet because he's so young into his career. When I compared him to other wrestlers, like for example Ibuki Hoshi, that I put above him, she has been in key roles in her promotion very early on and very young into her career, and that is where I put those above him. Definitely, when you talk about talent, Odashima has a lot of potential and can make it very far in Pro Stick Noah if they give him the chance to.
Well, that's a question. To be fair,
Huge if
um,
this promotion.
yeah, especially with his size, I think is going to hold him back in some form.
Yeah,
But on the other hand, like for a guy who's not even a year in, they've given him more than they've ever given anyone else. Pretty much. Like he's already a champion. He's making Daga look
yeah,
good. Like that alone is an automatic should be an automatic top 5 in all of our list. His match with Hiromu was great. His match with Kenta earlier in the year was great. Everything he's done has actually been like I would say there's never been a time I've watched him where I thought this guy isn't a hell of a wrestler. Like that's pretty much my thinking coming out of all of his matches. And I just think he's for sure the next. He's going to carry this division for years to come. Again, I don't know if he could be a true top star, like in terms of a heavyweight type of guy for sure. But I do think it's easier to make a name as a junior heavyweight in Noah than it is in New Japan. I
yeah,
would say, like, so it's
or
not
even
the
in all Japan.
yeah, definitely in All Japan too. But it's not the death knell it would be in other companies, I would say. So he could still be a major player, even as a junior heavyweight. I mean, we've seen it before, you know, at time in pretty much every era of Noah besides the last few years. Like things have kind of went down recently. It seems like they're coming back up again with Hiromu, though. Like they're getting the junior division up in a good place.
Yeah,
And it still needs work. Don't get me wrong, but he is a big part of what's going right. And again, uh, if you look at this list of these top 25, I'm not sure if any of these other wrestlers. Well, I mean, there's a couple. Like I won't say nobody, but I would say the number that can make a good tag team with Daga is so low in all its
from this
series.
list.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you're going by that, somebody again, then that's something I always value as a worker too, is somebody who get the most, kind of like Hina, where she's wrestling people that aren't the top best or anything like that, but she's getting the most out of them. That's something I look at. And I think Onishima has a lot of that in him too. Not that he wrestles bad people. Again, people like Hiromu are great. Uh, a lot of people are good in the junior division of Makasa. He's worked with. They've done a lot of good things at the end of the day. And Golpiadoras too. That was the one who they won the tag belts off of.
Right.
But so he's wrestled good people, but I just think he himself, he is going to be a major player in the future. I'd be very disappointed if he doesn't live up to his potential going forward, I would say.
You know what I would love to see would be a brief excursion, like a couple of months, or even just a couple of tours, a couple of shows with a Dragon Gate for Daiki Urashima. I think he would be able to polish his high flying even more. And that's where we have number 12 on our list. That's Mochizuki Jr. And for Junior is someone that we both really wanted to put in this list. But I mean, he's very young. He's still very young. But unlike Urashima, it doesn't really seem that the company is behind him right now. I mean, now he just won the Triangle Gate title with Love and Peace. That is all good and fine. But we all thought that he would be higher up in Dragon Gate at this point of his career and would not always be a losing post for his team in 6-man or 8-man tags. The potential he has always seemed limitless because his wrestling is incredibly good, and he has this gorgeous looking bridge when he does the German suplex. His kicks are already amazing. He carries himself very well, moves very well, has a lot what his dad had to develop in the late 90s and early 2000s. He was wrestling since 94 and wasn't always the top player that he was in Dragon Gate later on. But Mochi Jr., it seemed like he had it from the very beginning on. But for whatever reason, they've not chosen to cash in on his talent yet.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you and then agree with you. I disagree that Onishima is a high flyer. should go to Dragon Gate, first of all.
Now he's more of a wrestler. That's correct.
I don't
yes.
see him as that at all. But
but if he had matches with the Los Golpadores, his high flying, he could polish that part more, and maybe could have a more spectacular match down the line with those.
I would like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing him at Dragon Gate though, even if because I think Dragon Gate is more stylistically fluid than it used to be.
Diverse. That's right.
Yeah. Diverse. That's a better word, actually. So Onishima would be great no matter where he went. To be honest with you, in my opinion. But so would Mochizuki Jr. And everything you said is so true. That's the thing. Like, it's sad because I think if you were to go by talent, like in ring, like your version of how you voted your list, I could easily see me putting him in the top 5. To be honest, I think he's that strong of a wrestler. Like, I think he's such a great talent. But the problem is, when I did it my way, I honestly was debating if I should even list him. To be honest,
see,
because I just don't know if because in ring work, that to me is not as important as upside and potential in the promotion. And I just and never mind this list, just in life, like in general, pretty much. And I just don't know about him. He is really young, and there's plenty of time. If they want to turn it around, I could still see him. I could still see this being a totally accurate rating 5 years from now. But it may take until year 4 out of year 5 to get to that point, because I don't see it happening soon. But there's no reason in 5 years he can't be a major player in the company. I still believe that.
They might just decide to pull the trigger next year, and he'd be off to the races.
The thing is, he's similar to where Benkei was to me 3 or 4 years ago. Because after his title reign, he dipped off for years and did basically nothing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where Junior is right now. In a couple of years, I don't think they're going to pull the trigger next year. I think it's going to take 3 or 4 before we really get to see them give him any kind of ball. And the thing is, another issue with him is there's so many other guys in this company that are in line. if you're looking at where they're at right now, who's a bit like who has bigger upside, him or Jackie?
Jackie,
Or
definitely. And then
yeah,
we're even talking about Rita is getting a Brave Gate shot. There is Ishin, there's Yoshiki Kato, all these guys.
yeah, they may not be 25 or under, but they
No,
are ahead of him in
yeah,
the pecking
yeah.
order, or we would have voted them. That's if they were 25 or under,
If
like
Ishin
all
was under
four of those
25,
names.
sure, yeah.
Well, he's not, but yeah. But Junior, the thing is, his talent is very strong, and again, I think he'll get there eventually. It just probably won't be as soon as we want it to be at the end of the day. So I still think we're pretty justified in rating him. Like I would say like both of us, and you rated him higher than me, but I think again I think that this is a good rating for him in my opinion, even though it's a little like we don't have that much to go off of in terms of like stuff he's actually done, but we know his skill level is very high and that potential can be lived up to. Or, we could be looking at him in 5 years and it might be a situation where it's like, hey, remember when we thought he was a prospect?
Yeah, right.
You, you know?
So we're approaching our top 10 now, and the next one is Hanan that I have voted much higher than you have. Reverse case with Onashima once again, like you said before.
I wasn't that
Hanan,
bad. Like I said, but like in terms of the differences, but
Hanan,
yeah.
Hanan is someone that I was much higher on in like 2022 to 2024. I was incredibly high on her, and I thought that she could have the potential to make it to the top. Was high on the tag team with Saya Ida. Still, though, think she is a very good wrestler and has some years down. How many years has she been wrestling? 8 years, and has developed not only to be a great talent but to be a great character as well. So I thought that she deserved a top 10 mentioning from my side.
Yeah, you had her at number 6, I had her at number 20.
Hmm.
I think that her problem was that she got pushed a little early.
Hmm.
With the Cinderella run that she had, that singles run she was on, it just didn't connect the way you would have wanted. And she was in a tough spot with Mayu leaving. They had to. A lot of people were calling for her unit to disband and do new things, and they didn't do that. They just kind of gave it to her and let her run with it a little bit. And I think in practice, like Ida has benefited more for their teams than Hanan. Even though I think Hanan benefited in the grand scheme because I think they pushed her correctly this year. Like they went too far the first time, and putting her in the team with Ida, I think helped her out a lot. Instead of putting it all on her and letting them have a good run, I think Wingor has been one of the best tag teams of the year. But I do think her as a singles, and I watched her throughout the tournament, and she really didn't stand out to me at all. I have to say, like there really wasn't any of her matches that I thought were great or standing out. I thought she did good against like Kamatani and
Hmm.
Maysera,
Yeah, she
who
did.
are great. They're
Sure.
great workers, though. Like a lot of people did very good against those people. On her own, I still think there's something missing as a star, and I think her upside is kind of limited at the moment. She needs to get into another gear in terms of a character. Uh, but that said, I do like her talent. She did have the match where she was the one with Kamatani that was on the TV show as well. That shows you that they value her very highly still. I just think that they've pulled back on her in a good way. And I think she's better off in the tag team for now. As a wrestler, I would put her lower than her sisters. I think those are easy comparisons, but it's not just them. It's like Dragon Gate. There's so many people on this roster that are great and in line. It's not just one or two or even three. It's a lot. So we'll see what she does, but I do think she will reach. I think she has the highest ceiling of the three sisters, but she's
Okay.
shown the least. Like
Okay.
let's put it that way.
I see. Good. Then we have the top 10 here, and of these 10 wrestlers that we have left, we have two male wrestlers, and the other ones all female wrestlers. Dylan, what does it show?
Just what we said earlier. The Joshi training system has
Yes.
got the men's system beat.
Yep. Yeah. definitely. So we're starting off with Victoria Yuzuki from Marigold at number 10. When she came over from Stardom, I think she had tremendous pressure on her, especially because the promotion was just starting off and they didn't have the kind of talent in the way that they have now with Mayu Iwatani that can guide the way for the entire promotion. So there was a lot of pressure on her early on, and it seemed like early on there were times where it seemed like she would crumble under that pressure, but eventually she came through, won her first championship, and was able to unleash more of the potential that she showed in Stardom early on.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, Marigold getting Mayu is definitely a big thing. That's definitely helped, but I mean, they have lost people too with Mirai and Sari, and
Yeah.
Julia came over at the start. So like the roster, the good thing about the roster though, I will say, Mayu may be a big part of this too, that the young talent have gotten the chance to grow. Like a lot of the people, because when she came over from Stardom, a lot of the people were actress girls, people that
Mhm.
were basically rookies at that point. And you've got to see the roster grow a little bit, and the people they brought in, people like Yamaoka and Shino, I think have helped a lot. But the person most deserving of credit for her rise is herself, actually, because I think when she started off, whatever the reasons were, you could blame the roster, blame the leadership, blame whatever. She wasn't good. Like that it needs to be addressed. When she started out, she really struggled, and I do think you're right about her being pressured. Because she really was the crowd jewel. She was the one that people didn't expect to jump, like
Yeah,
out of
yeah. That was
everybody.
really surprising. Yeah. Mhm.
And because she had just debuted with Stardom and won their rookie tournament, like she was like 2 months in and made the jump with Rossi, and she was like the crowd jewel of the promotion in a lot of ways. And the thing is, I think ultimately with her, it's gonna really work out like it did with Kamatani, not character wise, but Kamatani when she started, she also wasn't very good. She was blowing spots a lot, in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same way
yeah.
Yuzuki was. But the thing is, they let her. Like they encouraged her. They said, "Look, we want you to do everything you want to do. If you mess up, that's okay. Keep doing it. Like don't stop." And eventually, she kept doing it and messing up enough to where she didn't mess up anymore. And it started
Mhm.
to be great. And that's the same thing that happened with Yuzuki. She kept messing up and being terrible until finally she became good. And that's a great way to learn in a lot of ways. And I think that helped her because I think if they had pressured her more from an in-ring standpoint, it might have like backfired a little bit. I also think Nanai helped her a lot. That was really her turning point. A lot of times with these people, similar to Saki Akai, her early years, she was really rough in the ring. But she had that match with Meiko Satomura, and after that, things turned and she got better. And with Yuzuki, her match with Nanai in March, there was a clear change before and after that. And by the end, she was basically one of the MVPs of the Dreamstar tournament that they had. So she's turned into a really great wrestler. She has a little bit of both, where she is good in the ring, but more importantly, they desperately want her to be a top star, if not the ace of the company in the near future. So I think that the sky's the limit for her in Marigold. It was a good year for Marigold. I wouldn't say it was great in terms of growth, like business growth or company growth. But I think that when they are ready to pull the trigger on her, people will accept it, and she's going to be ready for it. So I'm very proud to see how far she's grown because she's somebody. If you had asked me this a year ago, she would not have been on my list. Like it's very possible she
No,
would have been in
no.
she would have been in a Masada like role for me maybe like I'm debating like am I gonna vote for her or leave her off like, or even Honda like who I like a lot in this peak, but it's like when you see somebody be rough so much, it's like. But eventually they grow. A lot of these people, like
Yep.
whether it's Honda, Masada, Yuzuki, they all grow, and I think Yuzuki's done a great job and deserves to be in the top 10.
I think there was no debating on our side for the next one if she was going to be on the list. It is Tomoka Inaba from Just Tap Out, Taka Michinoku's promotion. And whatever you think about Taka Michinoku, he is definitely a guy that the output that he has had with his promotion is just incredible. I'm that is one of my blind spots as well. I just told you off the air that I'm going to watch some of those shows that they've put up on the YouTube side. They have so many young wrestlers that have debuted in the last couple of years, even very young ones. And two of them are obviously Tomoka Inaba and Asusa Inaba. And I think a lot of people have seen the sisters wrestle at the Takataichi show earlier this year. And of course, Inaba was in the 5-star as well. There was the match with that she had very early on in her career with Zuzu Suzuki in JTO2. And she brought her background, her martial arts background into her wrestling, incorporated that incredibly well, has great striking, and is just a tremendous talent.
Yeah, she's awesome. Like everything about her. I thought about putting Azusa on the list as well because I think that
I
she's a
have
great
her.
talent as well.
I had her just outside the 25.
Yeah, she was close for me too. Again, if it was a 30, like she probably would have been in it.
Yeah.
For me. So she just had her her special show a couple of days ago, turned 18. So shout out to Azusa Inaba as well. Very cool stuff there, last month. So Tomoka, when my sister watched the 5-star Grand Prix with me, and she really didn't know anything about Joshi or Stardom or anything like that. But Tomoka, along with Sariano and Poi, Tomoka really stood out to her. And she said, and again, this is somebody who's not a great in-ring wrestling fan. She's a very casual fan. But she looked at Tomoka and was like, she's got main character energy. So that and I think she does carry herself. I also saw in Stardom is always like kind of more of a heel player, and kind of a dastardly type of heel player. In JTO, she could do a little bit more and show her strengths, but there are great talents. Others like people like Rhythm, Hisoka, and stuff like that. That are worth a look at. I don't know if they'll ever make the jump into being stars. In JTO, it's going to be kind of tough, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the sisters have more of the edge of being in a bigger company. So Inaba, I think she gets to do a little bit more, but she also shows a lot in Stardom as well. I'm still waiting for I feel like she's one great match away from being like
Mm-hmm.
really on the big radar. In a Stardom, a big singles match. You had it with Starlight a little bit because remember that was in the show they did in the middle of the tournament or right after the tournament from Yokohama Budokan. And they put this big show up, and Inaba was the one that challenged Starlight Kid, and it was a great match, probably the best match on the whole show. At the end of the day, that was the same one that B. Priestley challenged for the red belt on, and I think she really stood out big there. But I'd like to see her have one more big match, and I think she could be a top star. But again, combined, we had her in the top 10, and I just voted her a little bit short. But we were both on the same page, that got her up there. But she's definitely a worthy top 10 player at the end of the day. And I think that I definitely see her if she sticks it out. And she'll probably would have to jump to Stardom full time, like sign a contract. But if that does happen, I could see her being a major player in the company, like a constant white belt level player, I would say.
Yeah, sure. Next up on our list is Seiri Yamaoka, who won her first championship basically a couple of days into her career, right? With
with Nanae Takahashi.
With Nanae Takahashi, the tag team Marigold's tag team title, now has just won the Twin Star Cup 2025 with Shino, and just had another singles match with Zenka Akatsuki in Marvelous. I'm hoping that will hit Wrestle Universe very soon because I really want to see that. Seiri Yamaoka, Dylan.
She's great. She was destined to be that was her building pretty much, the super rookie when she came in, and she came in like a bat out of hell. She had her first match with Mirai, and her first ever match was a draw last year with Mirai, which is extremely rare for a one match in rookie to do such a thing.
It was not rare for Mirai in Marigold.
Yes, it was not rare for Mirai herself, no, and that's why she is wrestling in a Tokyo Joshi Pro show this year and not in Marigold, I'm sure. It's not why, but it's one of the reasons why is
Yeah.
so many draws in her career in Marigold. But yeah, then like you said, like literally 2 weeks later, she was winning the tag belts, the Twin Stars with Nanai. So, do you know who they beat for the Twin Stars?
Yeah, I just looked it up. So
Oh, okay. Well, that spoiled it. But yeah, Bozilla and Tank. If you didn't know, I was spoiled for you, which is very funny to think about. But yeah, she's fantastic. I actually think Shino. She's another one that if it went to 30, I think Shino would have been in my list too. Both of these girls have super potential, and Shino's actually even younger than Yamaoka. But believe it or not, on there. They're actually the same age actually. Now that I think about it, but no, Shino is younger. Excuse me. There,
Shino,
yeah, Shino's younger. But yeah, so yeah, Shino's 17 and Sari's 19. But Akatsuki Yamaoka, that was the match everybody wanted to see in the Dreamstar Grand Prix, but Akatsuki had to pull out, and that was
sad.
unfortunate. Yeah, but yeah, like you said, they had the match at Marvelous, and I haven't seen it yet. It literally just happened yesterday, but I will make a big push to see it soon, before the year ends, because that could be a great match. Yamaoka has all the tools, in my opinion. I think that she's got a really good look. Her moveset's still basic, but not really in a bad way, in my opinion. I think execution-wise, she's among the strongest in her class. And
Yes.
actually, big shout out here to our listener, Luna, who's a really smart fan as well. She messaged when I put this on Blue Sky. Yes, follow us on Blue Sky as well as Twitter as well. But she mentioned that Yamaoka was her pick to be the top prospect as well, even though
And I
she
can
did
see
expect.
that. I mean,
She
you can
expected,
make a
yeah.
case.
In terms of prospect, yes.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and I mean, she did follow up. That was like she expected others to be higher and some people that will be higher, she doesn't view as a prospect, but more as finished products. And I get that. I totally agreed with what she was saying, on that end. As terms of a pure prospect, take away if they're a finished product, she's up there. I don't know if she'd be my exact number one, but I think that she deserves to be up there and well deserved to be in our list at number 8. I think she's a great pick, and I think a lot of people would agree with.
Yes, absolutely. Number 7 on our list is one of the 2 male wrestlers. It's one of the 2 male wrestlers in the top 10. It's Kosei Fujita from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And if you're following this podcast, it's really not that hard to guess who the other male talent in the top 10 is. But first, Kosei Fujita, Dylan, he's one of the few real bright spots in the junior division in New Japan Pro Wrestling, has been picked up by TMDK early on. That seemed to be a change of pace of their treatment of young lions when Kosei Fujita didn't make an excursion, but right away was put into TMDK. And at that point, I thought it was the complete right decision. He was able to learn from Zack Sabre Jr. and he was able to learn from Robbie Eagles as well. They had this great storyline where he perfected the Japanese leg roll clutch hold. And for months, he couldn't do it properly, but even eventually, he made it work for him. And that coincided with him becoming better and better. When now we talked about him on our last show where I think we talked about him and Kushida in their match at the Best of the Super Junior this year, where they did something completely different. And that is where Fujita comes into play. He is a guy that is able to perform outside of the box, out of the New Japan Junior Division box, and is able to really perform on a high level. And sadly, has not won the junior title yet. We thought he would have by this point already, but I'm hopeful for him that this will happen at a big show next year in 2026, Dylan.
He's kind of and this is kind of a point I always throw out. I don't I think it's more nuanced than this, but sometimes I do think it's good to keep things simple. In terms of workers, and I kind of mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Onishima, how many people could have a good tag team with Daga. Until somebody else has a match as good as the match, the Fujita and Kushida match was good, but the Fujita and Yo match was fantastic. And if somebody else on this list can have a match as good as that with a player the caliber of Yo, until that happens, he's the best worker. Like, pretty much. Because nobody ever dreamed of such a thing happening. And he did amazing. Like, in that role. Another top 10 match was last year, his match with Eagles versus TJP and Akira. That was a match of the year level match, in my opinion, too, at the end of the last year. And he's had great matches up and down. The only thing holding him back, because I would have voted for him even higher. I had him at number 7 on my list, and you had him at number 8. So we were right around the same spot with him, and he's 7 overall. The only thing that stopped me from putting him from top 3 is the company he's in. And being a junior heavyweight, I don't see any possible avenue to where he could be a main event level player in this company. Like, as sad as it is to say, I just don't know how that's... And they've already shown signs that they don't even see him that way. Like, now I don't want to write off a guy's career. He has a long road ahead of him. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll jump to another company and be a main eventer. We don't know that. But as things are, I think he really has limited upside being a junior heavyweight in New Japan. I'm sorry.
And that can limit your eventual realization of your potential. I can see that with him, but or generally with New Japan Wrestling. But he's just so good, man. He's so
an amazing worker.
More. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's one of the best. Never mind age. Like he's one of the best in the company to me, regardless of.
I was actually going to make that point that when you look at pound for pound right now in this company, I mean, he's up there.
He has to be up there. Yeah, exactly. Like, we haven't done a full list of that or anything, but he would be up there on my list for sure in the top 5. I would say.
Who else would there be in the pound for pound for New Japan?
The best workers in New Japan, I would say Goto after his year.
Goto.
Zach had a great year this year, I do have to say.
He did.
I'm not a fan of his as a champion, but he did have a great in-ring year.
Ishii technically is still there.
He's like halfway in, half foot out type of deal.
Yeah.
The thing that's going to hurt him, he's not ever going to get opportunities in New Japan, sadly. So
the thing is, we're talking about guys that have so much more experience than he has.
Exactly. And he's up there with him.
Up there, yeah.
Man, he's awesome. I love Kosei Fujita. I hope I'm wrong. I really want them to make him into something, but again, it's just hard right now in that company.
It is. Yeah, a different company where it's not that hard for young talent. We have like 3 in a row from Stardom Dylan. First, we have Meiseda, then we have Suzuki, and then we have Rina. All 3, of course, from Stardom, all on different stages of their career, but all really worthy to be in this top 10.
Yeah, they're all great. I would say.
Like, with Zuzu, it was so obvious when she debuted in Ice Ribbon that if she had stayed with Ice Ribbon, she would have been the unquestioned top talent. On the other hand, if she had stayed, would she have had limitations similar to what you said about Ibuki Hoshi? Where could she go right now with Ice Ribbon right now? Her transfer over to Stardom created much more opportunities for her, and as it did for Meisera, for example.
Yeah, and both of those, especially Meisera, was considered kind of risky.
Yeah,
that she made the jump to the big company. Again, she had a good run as Mei Hoshizuki in Marvelous. It wasn't like, she came in and she was some unknown person. She was somebody that did a lot of good things. Her issue, though, was, like I said, at first, she really got overshadowed by Mikoto Shindo, and then she just disappeared. Like, she stopped wrestling for like 2 years, and she resurfaced in Stardom, and she had this big return too at the Grand Queendom show that had Julia Tom Nakano on it. And ever since then, she really came through, and her run in the high speed division, she's really established herself as one of the best. And generally, that usually accompanies whether it's Azumi or her now. That usually means you're one of the best in the whole company. When you're one of the best high speed in terms of match quality. And her run was legendary with the high speed title, almost 2 years. She's done a lot of great things. Actually, her and Suzu were a tag team, and it led to a great blow off match at this year's Grand Queendom, which I thought was a great match. One of the sleeper matches on the whole card, and one of my favorites, actually. So she's both of them. All these three are talented. Sarah. The only reason I would put Rena over the other two is I think that she has more upside in terms of main event quality. I think they see that more in her than the other two. Suzu's really changed a lot since her Ice Ribbon days, I do have to say. I remember this young 19-year-old girl losing the title on a train, like when she was the Infinity Champion in Ice Ribbon. They had to bring the old belt back, which was a lot of fun for me as a longtime Ice Ribbon fan. But probably not a lot of fun that they lost the belt. That was not fun.
Really not fun for her.
Yeah, it probably wasn't fun for her at all. Actually, she was probably really nervous and scared, as I would be too if I lost a title. But she was like this happy-go-lucky young wrestler, and then she left, and she was like, you know what? I want to bleed a lot, like, you know, and we're gonna do this death match thing, and I'm gonna do my thing how I want to do it. At the end of the day. And she became this hardcore type of wrestler and adopted more of a brawling style. And once she got to Stardom, she's continued on that path. Uh, she's had good success there. Her run has been really good. I think, most notably, you could look at her as a wrestler that has a ton of great challenger type of matches to her. Not that she's, again, not that she's not delivering on her own, but she's yet to have one of the main two titles in Stardom. She's always been kind of a side character. She actually won the tournament a couple of years ago, the 5-star Grand Prix. I remember that win. I mean, it was a controversial win at the time because they hadn't really done a lot with her. I guess that's kind of a theme with Stardom with their 5-star Grand Prix winners. They just come out of nowhere and they fizzle out because they booked them stupidly, unfortunately. And she was a victim of that. But still, incredible worker. Has a lot of great title challenges to her name. I love her faction, Mi Vida Loca. I don't think they've.
Wait a sec, but this 5-star win, wasn't that because somebody dropped out of the tournament and she moved on then? I think.
All I remember about that was that she beat Micah in the finals.
Yeah.
Name.
I'm just looking at the blocks here.
Yeah.
In both blocks, in block A, Utami dropped out because she couldn't wrestle on the final day at least. And in block B, Starlight Kid had to drop out, and Saya Kamitani as well. So that might have changed the eventual outcome of the tournament.
Kamitani definitely had a chance to win. She got hurt on the first night of the show.
Yeah.
First night of the tournament. I
remember. That's what I was thinking about, right?
Yeah, and that may very well have happened. But either way, it still happened. Like she still won it.
Yeah.
And like I said, that kind of befits her role, right? That she was kind of the alternative choice, not really their actual choice for that. But I still think, like I said, I like what they done with Mi Vida Loca. I don't think they've gotten everything they could out of the group in general, and her specifically. She has more upside. Will they see it? I'm more confident in them seeing it in Rena, actually, who I think is destined to be one of the top stars. And we've already saw it with the 5-star this year, where she went to the Final Four, even at 18. So I think that her journey is going to be so interesting. Rena is the one I think most people would say is the best of the sisters. I think the majority of fans would pick her as the top judo sister. I actually like Hina a little better in ring, but I do think Rena's character is stronger, and of course she has the connection with Hana Kimura that they've utilized in the match with Starlight Kid this year, which everybody got emotional for, and it was an amazing match too. So Rena's got a lot on her side. I think she's destined to be one of the top stars in the company, and she's grown into a great worker as well, utilizing more of the submission games. that and the things that she's done in her matches. I think she's really grown a lot as a worker. I don't know if I could see her like right now being a red belt challenger in the next year, but I think 3, 4 again. By the time we get to the 5 year mark, I think she could be capitalizing and being the top, not the top star, but a main event player in 5 years.
Yeah. All right. That is the trio from Stardom. And we are now going to be up the list. And this one is also a candidate that we can see in 5 years down the line. How great could Homare be, Dylan? Homare is our number 3 in the list. Homare very much is a day one guy. Few wrestlers have made such an impact in Dragon Gate like Homare did. The other one is Tien Revolution, that had a tremendous debut but had to drop out with his knee injury. And now we have a mysterious guy that is called El Cielo. We are going to see who that turns out to be. But Homare very early showed that he is not only a rookie, but he can blend in perfectly. Not perfectly, but it's near perfect for the level of experience that he has. How he blended into the style of matches, of multi-man matches that Dragon Gate has. And not only that, he also was a great character from day one on. He turned to Shun Skywalker turned heel on his first day, whereas others in Dragon Gate first get their rookie stage before they get added to a group and develop more of a polished character. Homare had a character from day one on, was incredible from day one on, and the potential that he has seems limitless.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he's a guy that when you look at our list, the top 2 kind of to go with Luna's points that she made on Blue Sky, the top 2 are finished products, pretty much. Like
pretty much. The only
Homare,
thing that Azumi and Starlight Kid, spoiler, that's obvious that those are the 2. The only thing that they don't have yet is the top run.
Yeah, and Homare is kind of the top prospect on the list because I don't think we're anywhere near a finished product with him. I actually said it all year. Like he was doing great as the heel and all of that, but that first match he had with Mochi, like I said it all along, his true path, like his true like destiny is as the top babyface of Dragon Gate. In my opinion, I've always felt that way. They've had to fight the fans cheering him when he was in Z-Brats. Even Jay, when he was on Voice Game, was talking about how he was one of the top merch guys and like the most over players to the fans, even when he was with Z-Brats. Now that we've with Psypatra, again, you could kind of like, I guess, wiggle if it's a baby face or a tweener faction, but to the fans, they're baby faces. Like that's pretty obvious. And Homare is just perfect. He's just perfect in his role. And the thing is, he's just over a year in. His performance, like that, tag run that they had in the Rey de Parejas, that final night, that was one of the better one night performances of anybody. Like all year.
Such a tremendous show, man.
Yeah, and he did an incredible job. Like in it, like he was the one that kind of carried everything, both in the match versus KZ and Jay, and also the final match. Which he got the win. It was perfect booking of it, and he looked like a star. Yeah,
you got to point that out. That it's something that the Open the Voice Gate guys always point out when they talk about Homare and how far up he already is. When it comes to his talent, that they trusted this guy with less than 1 year on his career to carry this show. He had 3 matches on this show, and that's just an incredible achievement.
And 3 great performances. So, like all 3 matches, like they ruled. And great stuff. And I thought he was awesome in them. The team was awesome. The booking was great. It was a ton of fun to watch. It would have been interesting to see if they had gone with him, if he hadn't have gotten hurt with the King of Gate. Because he was a guy I kind of circled as they didn't really set it up for him to win, but I did think he was a dark horse. And I think he would have beat Yamato.
Yeah, That was my point too when we talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you said that too. And we talked about the Valletta thing and how that went. Which we liked the final. You really liked the final, and I liked
I
it.
did.
So it was good. The fans were into it. But Homare, like if he could have gotten that run, that would have meant a lot, I think, and he would have done amazing at it if that had happened. So we have to look for where his future goes. But I think there's no doubt, like of everybody on the list, he's a guy I would put like, if you wanted me to put money on this, like okay, who has the most chance to be a top star in 5 years? He would be the one I would feel
Yeah.
the most confident in of all the names on the list. I think he's for sure. Hopefully, he can just stay healthy. That's the only thing that can hold him back is an injury. If he stays healthy, he's going to lead this company, and it may be sooner than we even think. To be honest,
Maybe. It may be. He's definitely past the Brave Cat level already.
yeah, I think they're kind of like on the edge where it's like maybe they give it to him just to give it to him, type of deal. And him and Tanaka would be an awesome match, too.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So
Tanaka is also practically beyond the Brave Cat level already.
yeah, I know, right? Like, so that's the thing. Like both of these guys, but I think it's great. I think Tanaka's done a great job of making that title worth something, and maybe that could
Yes.
keep it going. Like if Homari won that title, Tanaka. We're kind of going on a tangent here, but I
Hmm.
don't care. Like if Tanaka keeps this going,
Yeah.
he's really only a couple of defenses away from being one of the best Brave Gate champions ever. Like this could be a legendary reign we're in the middle of witnessing, and
And he
Homari would be a great follow up if that were the case.
and Tanaka was only 1 year away from making this list too.
Oh yeah, if he were on the list, like if he were, yeah, man, he definitely would have been a top player on this list. He would have been right behind Homari, probably for me on my
And
list.
that's another incredible case for Dragon Gate. This guy, right? He's been wrestling for 2 years, or actually, yeah, close 2.5 years now, and is already on the top tier level when it comes to. Well, yeah, when you look at singles matches in this company, like you said, with the Brave Gate run that he has.
Yeah, so
Crazy.
like, yeah, lots of great
Yeah,
stuff in Dragon Gate, and Homari
yeah.
right at the top of the list.
And finally, yeah, man, two cases. I don't think there is a lot to say because it's plain on sight. We've seen it for years and years with Asumi. That is our number two, and Starlight Kid is our number one. Dylan, it's yeah. Like you said, it's these two are finished products. Starlight Kid even has had her arc as a dark side character. Azumi has she ever been a heel? I don't think so, right?
How dare you forget the run of the Azumi army?
I'm
Um,
sorry.
yeah, I mean, Queen's Quest were kind of dark. Like I
Mm,
said, when she was there, I wouldn't say she was a heel wrestler, but she was dark.
okay,
She had black gear, purple. Those are dark colors, right?
that's dark colors. Yes, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. See, there you go.
maybe. Yeah, but
Not a true heel though. Like the way Starlight Kid
yeah,
was. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, she had her definite dark side, and she turned to the light now, and is considered to be one of the focal points of the company. So these two are completely different from others that we had on the list, like Sega Akatsuki, like Siri Yamaoka, even like a Yu Owada or Daiki Odashima. It just comes down to the Yoshi system that these wrestlers get to wrestle earlier, get to wrestle more, and get to a high level earlier than others. Of course, due to the history of Yoshi, where it used to be that you had to retire after turning 30, that is not the case anymore. But what is left of this system is that lots of wrestlers train very early on and make their debut very early on.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, they're great. Definitely. I would say Azumi, her run in Stardom was really kind of weird. Like booking wise that she's had. There was times again a few years ago when, and obviously she was this prolific high speed champion. We kind of talked about it with May Sarah, that Sarah eventually surpassed in terms of days, but that was kind of her stage, right? And her biggest run was as the high speed ace,
Mhm.
and I loved her. That I thought she was an incredible worker back then, the best on the roster, arguably. I would maybe not number one, but up there. Like she would have been in my top three probably, but since then, I don't know if they've really been able to find a true role for her. Like she's been like where she's at right now, it feels like I don't know how great teaming with Kid is long term because I feel like Kid has their eye more. Like I mean, she's constantly pushed higher, the white belt run and all of that stuff. So teaming them together, I think Azumi's kind of been stuck in her shadow in Neogenesis. I mean, she did have the strong title run for whatever that's worth, I guess. They used it to build to a really good Kamatani match. I actually like their 5-star match even better. Like their main event match was good. Like for the red belt, that was the first ever red belt shot she had this year, and it was really good. Don't get me wrong. But that 5-star match was one of the best starter matches of the whole year. It's like Azumi was kind of like it felt like wrestling Kamatani woke her up. Like, oh yeah, I am one of the best again. Again,
Yes.
in terms of potential upside, I would say Kid definitely has more. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
she's it's
Yeah.
not anything against Azumi at all. I think it's more so again, if I ran the company, things would be different in a lot of ways. But just what the signs they've shown and how they book these people, I think they see Kid as a potential top star, and Azumi's kind of where she's at. Now, hopefully, she can get a new run. Maybe it is a heel run that can kind of unlock something different in terms of her character wise. Because I love her talent. I think this year has been not a great one for her overall. Like, it's probably been her worst year in many, many years. But she did come through with a red belt run, and that stuff was all great. I want to see what they do with them once this unit ends, I think, or at least one of them leaves it, whether it's Kid or Azumi. I
Uh-huh.
think that will show her true potential kind of going in there. But either way, even if she never becomes a main eventer, she's a hell of a wrestler, I would say. And I think, she's up there. Let me ask you this, because I voted Kid number one. Why did you pick Azumi over Kid? We'll have a
The
little
long-term
debate in here.
trajectory that she has had. That's where it came down to me. Like once again, when it comes to when we only talk about when we talk about potential as the main topic, that would be Starlight Kid, but the trajectory that Azumi already has, the career that she already had, that is what made me gave her the edge over Starlight.
And I would have said Kid had a better year this year, like
Yeah, I would
already
agree.
than
I
Azumi.
would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, she was still high on my list. Azumi was still like number 4 for me, so it wasn't like I said no. Like this is a crazy pick. Like I think that she's still really great in the ring. I hope that they utilize her to her greatest upside, which I don't know if they have, to be honest. But the wrestling quality's there. She's awesome, and I love her a lot.
Yeah.
Kid, I think, deserves it. She's a great worker and has great upside for the future as well. We saw her in the Ash Nico music video too, which took her to a worldwide stage in terms of star power. Um, which is, I mean, that was really unexpected and just cool for her as well. So you see that she's got a lot going for her. Yeah, I think again, you look at the top 5 for us combined: Suzu, Rina, Homare, Azumi, and Kid. That's a great top 5, I would say,
Yeah.
for this list.
It is. And ultimately, this list came out really well. I think it shows you how diverse this Japanese wrestling landscape is now. And it also showed that there is a clear edge for the Yoshi contention on here,
Yeah,
especially in the top 10.
there was 17 women and 8 men
Yeah.
on this list. So I mean, that's over double the amount of men on the list here. But again, it's really more on the structure of how they utilize these
Yes.
people more than anything.
Yes, in some cases it is. In other cases, when you, for example, think about what we always say about New Japan Pro Wrestling, we really struggle hard to imagine who would be the follow-up to the top guys that have left now with Naito, Tanahashi, and Okada. Is the talent really on that level to compensate that? And that is questionable, at least.
Well, I mean, a lot of even those guys are in their 30s now. Like Suji
Yeah,
going for the title is
yes,
31,
I
so it's
know.
not like like none of
No,
those would be eligible.
they would not be eligible, but they are the younger portion of the roster.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the thing. Like a lot of the young guys now, we're not gonna even know their true potential until they're in their 30s. Like
Yeah.
the same ones now, unless they change how they utilize these people, which they won't. Like on there. But yeah, like I do agree. Like I mean, I've been out as outspoken as anybody about it. That I think the talent does deserve fingers pointed at them as much as booking. I don't think that they're on that level, to be honest. But we'll see. I don't think they were helped though by how they were used, but nevertheless,
All right. No, it came out really well, and
yeah, it was a
maybe
good list
we
overall.
maybe we showed you, the listeners, some talent that you have not heard of. Maybe you want to get into the wrestlers. We gave you some matches. We gave you some background on these wrestlers, and so I'm really happy that we did that, Dylan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like that's as big of a thing as anything.
So just for funsies at the end of the show, really short here, not to get into too deep here. I did two other lists. Basically, I made a reverse list of the 25 under 25. The next list that I made just for myself, just wanted to think about that, is the top 10 wrestlers that debuted after 2000. Not that were born after 2000, but that debuted after 2000. So, Dylan, I'm just going to throw 10 names at you.
Okay.
It's not really that I've put them in a real order, but I'm just going to name these 10 names. I
Okay.
actually wanted to put Fujita Hayato on the list, but he has been out for so long, of course, due to his cancer, and hasn't had the output that others had. I wanted to put him on here for an emotional standpoint, but couldn't really justify that with the others.
He'll be back
So
one
the
day.
rest, yeah, he'll be back. He'll definitely be back. So the wrestlers that I have are Zuwama, Keno, Yamato, Yuji Okabayashi, Go Shiozaki, Kota Ibushi, Kenta, Kento Miyahara, Takashi Sugiura, and Hiroki Goto.
Okay, so those are kind of like the
So
wrestlers of.
yeah, exactly. The wrestlers of the 2000s until
Yeah.
now, the rule that I made for myself is that the wrestlers had to be wrestling at least for 10 years, which, for
Oh,
example,
okay.
ruled out someone like Takuya Nomura, who has been wrestling since 2016, couldn't make the list because of that.
He's not above
And
those guys anyway.
he's not above all those guys anyway.
Yeah.
As an example. Just as an example.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I
Miyahara
love
has
him
been
though. Don't
wrestling.
get me wrong. But yeah.
Miyahara has been wrestling for 17 years now. That's incredible when you think about that. Um, Yuji Kobayashi now is out. We don't know if his career is finished or not, but when he was wrestling, he was unquestionably the top guy in his company. Others, like, for example, Hiroshi Tanahashi or Sekimoto, weren't eligible because they debuted in 1999. I mean, Tanahashi would have been clear top guy. Kota Ibushi, he is one of those that just in recent couple of years has, of course, fallen down because of his body breaking down. Others like Kenta has had an incredible run in the 2000s, then went to WWE, now came back and has had a great run with Pro Wrestling Noah. Others like Hiroki Goto. Goto has always been a great wrestler, but hasn't had the opportunity that others had to headline the company. Go Shiozaki has had his incredible run during COVID. We remember that, the GHC run. And that would be my list.
Yeah, I mean, all of those guys are great in their own way, and top stars too. Like a lot of them.
Yes.
Well, all of them really. Uh, I'm trying to think of who else would even be on this kind of list. I wonder.
Well, you could make the case for Tetsuya Naito, Shinsuke Nakamura, for example.
Yeah, in
Uh,
terms of star power, what about Nakajima?
yeah, Nakajima could be on this list as well. Nakajima,
Yeah,
he could have made the cut. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he's a guy that I think would be in the mix overall. But
Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah.
have a. Yeah, like I said, I have to think about it a little bit more to have a true like type of idea of this.
Yeah,
But
Nakajima debuted in 2004, I think, too.
yeah. He was still really young then. I think he was like 16 when he
Yeah, he was
debuted.
16. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. Others that would be eligible. Let me quickly pull that up here. Marufuji, of course, would be eligible. Shingo Takagi.
Yeah, that's
Also a
true.
guy that is
Yeah.
eligible.
Why'd you pick? Yeah, that's a good question to give us something to talk about. Why was
Yeah.
Yamato your pick of the Dragon Gate guys?
Long-term carrying the company. Yeah, it's a good question. It's very, very. Yeah,
You made this list.
That is a
Not
good
me.
question. That is a good question. Why I put Yamato in and I did not put Shingo Takagi in. It was a list that I made up on the fly, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have picked
Definitely,
Yoshino.
there's a big Yoshi. I actually
Did he debut in 2000?
I wanted to put Yoshino on. He debuted in '99.
Ah, okay.
I think he did. Let's see.
Let's find out.
He
He debuted in 2000.
Oh, he would have been eligible. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Then I thought he debuted in '99, so he would definitely be in the top 10.
Yeah.
Others that could have made the cut, let me see. Daisuke Harada, Dylan.
He's good. Like I said, he was never the top star of Noah, but him and Coach K carried the O Pro and then became great in Noah and helped carry the junior division for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Others would have been like Naoki Doi, Shuji Kondo. Yeah, no one that would make the top list.
Yeah,
that's something to think about. Just who.
What about Harashima?
Harashima debuted. I think he debuted in the '90s. Didn't he?
Maybe. Like I said.
Let me see.
Debuted in 2001.
Could have been eligible as well. Okay. Yeah. Harashima definitely a guy that could also be in this top 10.
Yeah.
All right. No, it was just a funsies for the end here. Harashima also a guy that could make the cut in my next list because I'm right now putting him in, and I'm grabbing the other one. The finalist that I have is the top 5 over 50 years old, Dylan. So I just found out that Harashima is in fact 51 years old, so he makes the list. He makes the list as position number 4. Now that he is off, make quick change here on this list. Number 5 is Satoshi Kojima. Number 4 is Harashima. Number 3 is Masato Tanaka. Number 2 is Takashi Zuki. I might change Tanaka and Harashima. Tanaka on 4 and Harashima on 3.
I would rate Harashima over Tanaka personally. Number
2 is Takashi Sugiura, and number 1 for me clearly Masaki Mochizuki.
Yeah, I mean those are all the best ones. I mean Kojima has gone down a little bit, I would say.
Yeah, but when you compare him to others that would be able to make the list, like Jun Akiyama, for example, Kojima is still able to go to lengths of the G1 Climax, I think. Others would be like Minoru Suzuki, Yuji Nagata. Those definitely lost a lot in the last couple of years.
I think I might take Nagata over Kojima if I had to pick one.
I've seen some Nagata matches recently, and they were rough.
Yeah, I mean they were. And again, we're taking slim pickings. Kojima's run the tag league was horrible. Like I said,
I've not seen the tag too.
Yeah, like I said, I actually went back and watched that. That's how bad that was. But yeah, so it's not his fault really.
Would be eligible, for example, too.
Yeah, he's another one that's like, it's tough. Like, because I mean, these guys. Yeah. The thing is, all of these guys were great at one point. Like Kojima, Nagata, Taka. Like to me, even Mochi's lost a little bit. Like Sugiura is not in a great spot right now, but I actually blame the booking more than him per se. Like this Team 2000X team with Kitamiya is not it. Like listen, straight up, it's just not.
Listen,
good.
when him and Kenta actually wrestled in their match that they had a couple of days ago, it was great.
And that's the thing. Like I think if we're talking, pound for pound, the most skilled guy, like I think he blows actually the other 4 away. Like I think Sugiura is still one of the best in the entire company. Like, I think you could easily make that case. He's not used right, though. This is his problem. More so than him losing anything. But obviously, he has lost something. It's not like he's where he was, even 5, 6, 7 years ago.
6, 7.
Yes, yes, but yeah, but still, Mochi. I thought his match with Tanaka was one of the lesser ones on Tanaka's run, actually, that he's had so far. It was surprising because I wanted it to be great, but it
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it just fell short of even like the Billy Kinkin match. I thought was better on there. You wouldn't expect that from his.
Oh, Billy
You wouldn't
Kinkin
expect
also,
that.
Also,
Yeah.
guy above 50.
Yeah, he like I said, those guys are right. I was a huge O Pro fan when I first started watching. I think everybody knows. Well, not everybody knows probably now, but my first start in watching Japanese wrestling was really K Dojo was kind of my favorite. Like, and that led me to like an O Pro, like Osaka Pro style. So that's why early on Harada and Kotige were kind of my guys because I had watched them in Osaka back then. But so guys like Billy Kid, Tsubasa, like those were the top indie. Yeah, Yoshitsune was another one of my guys. We talked about Fujita Hayato earlier. Like I
Yes.
loved all those guys in Michinoku Pro, Osaka Pro, the more colorful junior high speed type of indies. So I loved all those guys, and there's still it makes me happy to see people like a Billy Kid do great. Even Mochizuki, again, he might have lost something, but he's still good. I never when he comes out, I'm never like, oh, I wish I wasn't watching this guy anymore. Like Kenta in New Japan, that's kind of how it was. Like I was like, I wish you would retire because I literally hate watching you like right now. And he was one of my absolute favorites. I've never felt that way about any of those guys. Like I said, Kojima, he's really dropped off, I would say. But who knows? Maybe he'll come back and do some big things. I know he wrestles a lot in MLW now, too. It's kind of like his main haven to get a push because it's definitely not going to happen in New Japan. But tag team guy, always throws a good lariat.
Yes.
You can't hate on him too much.
No. Yes, just a lighthearted end to the year, Dylan, with our 2025, under 25, and the lists that I made. So I'm glad that we got together at the end of the year once again. And to the end of the show, I'm wishing you, Dylan, and everybody else a happy new year.
Happy New Year, everybody. I hope it's a great year of wrestling. I hope that Japan has a ton of great companies and utilizes a lot of the people we talked about today, whether it was the old timers or the top 25 list. I hope that it's a really great year for the fans, most of all. I want you guys to all be healthy and safe out there. And I hope you know that, I can't wait to do this show more and talk about everything that happens, good or bad. We will cover it all and do our best for all you guys out there. So thank you guys so much for listening. And like we said earlier, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thanks for listening and goodbye.
Sayonara.